Like the video and subscribe right now, or this doggo will steal your girl. Ready? 3, 2, 1. Kids describe color to a blind person. Have you ever seen the color of a blueberry? I haven't seen anything, ever. That's the whole point. 1 kid's mac and cheese. Make it more orange in color. If possible, I don't know, dude. Just kill me. I wouldn't let her drink the chemicals under the sink. I had to work overnight last night, and while taking a nap today I was vandalized. I have a picture and have detained the 2 suspects, but one is not cooperating. The only one who can speak blames it on the full-legged suspect who has no hands to pull off such a stunt. Thanks to my neighbor for pointing out that I have marker all over my face when I took the full-legged suspect for a walk before I realized that I was vandalized. Duck. When you ask a first grade class to write letters to people in a nursing home, time's almost up. The perfect advertisement doesn't exist. Durex. Toddler left looking like Pennywise after putting hair removal cream on her head. Kids are the best, man. They get all shocked when you figure out they did something wrong, like, "Mom, how'd you know I colored on the table?" Because you wrote your ducking name on it. My mother once threatened to make my brother, 6, and I, 4, sleep outside if we didn't get our room cleaned up. So we decided that we should probably spend the rest of the day preparing to sleep outside, because that would be way easier than cleaning our room. Our bright idea was to dig holes for us to sleep in, so we could cover ourselves in leaves and sticks to act as blankets. So instead of my mom finding her sons cleaning their room, she found them digging their own graves in the backyard. We went into the basement for a tornado. My 3-year-old thought we were hiding from a tomato. Honestly, that scared her even more. Almost 2-year-old for sale. Been crying for 10 minutes cause he can't get in the oven with the cornbread. Entertaining all offers. Hi. Hello. I understand your child has accidentally placed an order and you wish to cancel the order with refund. I will help you. Great. Thank you. Just to confirm, are you referring to the Extreme Farts extension pack? Yes, that's the one. People coming over. Me. Tidies up. Husband. Fires up the barbecue. Toddler. Removes all clothing. Happy Monday. My kids spent a solid 15 minutes arguing over whether this thing goes in the animal bin, because duck, or the vehicle bin, because wheels, and it was honestly one of the funniest conversations that I have ever overheard. When I was 8 I got lost at the mall and started crying because I couldn't find my mom. So then a security guard came to help me, but I punched him in the nuts as hard as I could because stranger danger and that dude still had to help me find my mom. I think about him a lot. This is the look I genuinely thought Joe Jonas was going to see me wear and fall in love with me in 2008. When I was a kid I thought only smart people wore glasses. I told my parents I had trouble seeing, so they took me to the eye doctor and I pretended to have poor vision. I ended up wearing glasses I couldn't see out of for a month before I finally confessed I was a total dumbass. Has been very picky lately, but loves Taco Bell. So I made a homemade meal and put it in an old Taco Bell bag. And it actually worked. 9-year-old didn't want to try my lemon loaf, but when I rebranded it as lemonade cake he was interested. Earlier my daughter asked me if grown-ups ever cry. I sat down with her, hugged her, and explained that grown-ups do cry, and that we feel scared, sad, angry and everything she feels, and it's fine to feel those things. She then asked me if grown-ups pee. Lions can hunt and kill their own food by the time they are 3 months old. My 3-year-old couldn't find her lunchbox, and it was in her other hand. I can't believe we are at the top of the food chain. A little kid came up to the ice cream truck today holding a $5 in one hand and a cool leaf in the other. She asked for a bomb pop, and I said okay, that will be one leaf please. And she said no, and handed me the $5. Would just like to thank the person who told my daughter that when she lies her eyes turn a different color. Now she squeezes her eyes shut every time she lies, and my job just became a whole lot easier. My kids thought chasing each other around the kitchen wasn't dangerous enough and started pulling drawers open to slow each other down. Anyway, now I know what it sounds like when a 4-year-old's face makes full contact with a silverware drawer. Thinking about in 7th grade, when I got escorted to the police station after school because they found out I was prank calling local businesses as Ricky PP, and when I walked in, the officer who was waiting there with my mom to talk to me said, "If it isn't Ricky PP, we can't find my 6-year-old's glasses." Today we asked him where they are. He said, and I quote, "I threw them in the garbage yesterday. The lenses were dirty. $400. See ya." I just asked my 8-year-old to quit yelling and he said, "I'm not yelling. This is my voice and all my life I've been whispering. Now I'm free." Every family has that one kid. I just want everyone to know that my 2-year-old insisted on being pants for Halloween. My kids have had 2 fish and named them Dave and Dave. I asked them how they can tell them apart, and my youngest son said one of them is Scottish, so you pronounce his name differently. I mean, what do you say to that? Babysitting. I gave my nephews $5 each. I told them to hold it against the wall with their nose. Whoever dropped first would lose, with the winner getting to keep both. Kept them busy for 3 hours. When I was a kid, my parents would make me shower at night most of the time, so I'd be clean for school the next day. For whatever reason, I hated doing it. I used to just turn on the shower and chill for 5 minutes, then come out wrapped in a towel. My parents caught onto this real quick, so then I started doing the same thing, except I would just stick my head in and get my hair wet. So if they questioned me, I would just say feel my hair. They eventually caught onto that too. So for a while I was running the shower, sticking my head in, then washing my hands/arms with soap, so I would smell clean. I went through all this damn trouble instead of just jumping in and taking a 5-minute shower. Damn, I was stupid. My son just told me that he loves the new toy trucks they got at daycare. They are his toy trucks. We donated them because he refused to play with them. When in the car with my daughter, she has my phone running Spotify. We have a game where she plays any song ever, and I can guess the artist and title within seconds of listening. She believes I'm a musical genius. She's unaware the song info is on the little screen behind the wheel. My son asked me where does poop come from. I was a little uncomfortable, but gave him an honest explanation. He looked a little perplexed and stared at me in stunned silence for a few seconds and asked, "Antigua?" 2-year-old eating his lunch. "Papa's coffee hot?" Me, "Yeah baby, it's hot. Don't touch." 2-year-old, "Me blow on it for papa." It was at this point I witnessed with horror my 2-year-old attempt to blow on my freshly made coffee, only to spit a half-eaten chicken nugget straight into it. The teacher asked my kindergartner what his favorite season was, and he said garlic salt. I was arguing with my husband and my son screamed "Yay!" to Christmases from the other room. The story behind this picture has me rolling. So there was this episode of Hannah Montana when Jackson pretended he lost his memory. So me in the 2nd grade wanted to do it too. I had slipped and fell in the bathroom at school. Then I told my friends I couldn't remember anything. They told the teacher, then I went to the nurse. Then I went to the hospital. They was doing hella tests. Whole time I'm faking it. So my 4-year-old nephew asked me to draw him Harry Potter. He then excitedly shouted, "I'll do the legs." My son will only eat Paw Patrol string cheese because he swears it tastes best. I was tired of paying extra for it and bought the generic brand, but he said it didn't taste the same and wouldn't eat it. So yesterday I put Paw Patrol stickers on it and he ate 2 in a row. "See, mommy," he said. "I told you the Paw Patrol cheese tastes better." 6-year-old, "Daddy, how long does it take to count to 1 million? After breaking out the T85. Dad, if you count one number per second, it would take you a little over 11.5 days. 6-year-old, what if I start at 100? 6-year-old son, who would win a fight between a hippo and a lion? Me, I dunno, maybe the hippo, because he's big and can stomp. 6, wrong, the lion has a knife. Where in the dad manual did it mention how to stop a 3-year-old from taking bites out of ducking drywall? 9-year nephew, "Hey, smell this. You lick the puss." Me, Nudes TV. "What?" 9-year-old nephew, "It's so good. Smell it. You lick the puss." Me, 9-year-old nephew, hands me a candle jar. Me, "It's pronounced eucalyptus." Toddler was asked to feed the cat. When I was around 5 I asked my mom why some people were different colors, and she said, "Because God wanted lots of flavors." And let me tell you, that was the wrong thing to say, because for the next 3 years I thought God ate people when they died. In Target, little girl in checkout line, "I'm gonna see a cow today." Me, "Wow, that sounds so cool." Mom of girl, "Please ignore her, she's trying to say her grandma, but she heard me call her a cow today and she won't stop repeating it." I made my bed and found a half-eaten stick of butter in it. When I asked my child if she put anything in Mom's bed, she said I did not put butter in it. The mystery continues. More at 11. In theory I love my kids equally, but in practice the smallest one filled my shoes with fig Newtons, and that's not ducking cool. My daughter was born when my son was just 2. For the first 6 months of her life we were constantly greeting her, "Hi sweet girl. Hi little one. Hi my precious baby." My daughter is 18 months old now, and no matter how much we correct him, my son is convinced her enemy is Hi. He will say, "Mom, Hi is awake. Hi is hungry." Or my absolute favorite, "Hello Hi." Madison's eaten 3/4 of a chicken and cheese quesadilla. The last 1/4 she realizes it has chicken and cheese and isn't a pancake. She flies into a fit of crying and screaming that I lied and broke her little baby heart. I literally never ducking, said it was a pancake, but go off. Thinking about having kids. My son poured syrup in every floor vent. 13 years later it still smells like waffles every time the heat comes on. 5-year-old asked me to go find something downstairs. I couldn't find it. 5-year-old, "I've got an idea. This time, go back downstairs and try your best." My 4-year-old keeps trying to fill up his mouth at the sprinklers and then run across the park to spit the water on me, but the very thought makes him laugh so hard that I remain perfectly dry. Dear parents, we've been made aware of a first grader who brought some of his parents' money to school last week and was handing it out to other first graders. The money was mostly in $100 bills, but there were also some $20s and some $1. If any of your kids brought home some unexpected money last week that was given to them by another first grader, could you please let us know? We are trying to help the mother recover as much of the money as possible. Thanks. Throwback to when my daughter was 9 and obsessed with mermaids. She wanted to be one so bad she found a spell on YouTube that would turn her into one. Watching her gagging from trying to eat sardines while reciting a spell with her feet in a bucket of water for an hour was magical. Parenting is hard. I'm trying to teach my son that vagina isn't a dirty word, but that he still needs to pick a different name for his hamster. My 7-year-old son's brilliant way to never lose the only key he has for this lock. Just watched a child call Spider-Man the Fortnite guy. I just lost the will to live. When I was 6 I named my Animal Crossing character Shreks and couldn't change it back, so panicked. Went outside the next day and smashed the game card with a hammer. I have lived with this my whole life. B9. Playing Paper Mario. Halfway through game get a part where you have to buy a quest item from a store. Shop owner, Toad, says item is out of stock and will be in stock soon. Assume it means I have to actually wait for it. Spend 3 in real life months checking in the game to see if the item has come in stock yet. 8 years later watching a speed run of the game. Realize you didn't have to ducking wait for it, you just had to ducking continue the game and it come after a checkpoint. Dumbest rumor you've heard about yourself? When I was in middle school people were saying that I was homeschooled, even though I went to school. My soul left my body today as a student confidently declared that over 35-year-olds don't use social media, they are not on the internet. So, when I was like 7 or something, I was at the airport with my mom and service dog. I had a Minecraft creeper themed backpack with a pocket that looked like TNT. So, 7-year-old me thought it was the greatest idea to announce that I had TNT in my backpack in front of security. I was so lucky the security guard understood Minecraft and it only added an extra 2 hours of security check. Yeah, I'm very confused as to how I'm alive today as well. Daughter didn't want sunscreen, so I put her outside and yelled son, get her, and now she's flipping out. Bedtime was half an hour ago. My 6-year-old just walked out bleary-eyed and asked his father if a duck is a predator. Some things are too important to go to bed without knowing. Mom, said my 6-year-old, look at your child. So I looked, and there, sitting cross-legged in a miniature lawn chair, was my 2-year-old drinking A1 sauce straight out of the bottle. Keep your toddler busy by letting them paint the fence with water. Someone ate all the muffins. It was him. Being a parent sometimes means a frantic effort to get your kid breakfasted, dressed, and in the car, only to pull up to the school's drop-off zone 2 minutes before school starts and have them say, but I'm not wearing any shoes. My 4-year-old son thinks he's a ninja, so my wife took a before picture and showed him. He absolutely thinks he's completely invisible in front of our black appliances. Audrey, 6-year-old, Daddy, did you know that after Michael left my school, he came back and now people call him David? Me, does he look and sound totally different too? Audrey, yes. Me, that's not the same kid, honey. Audrey, long pause. Maybe. Redditors with toddlers, what's the most recent illogical breakdown they've had? He loved being tickled, so I was tickling him one day. He let out a huge fart and suddenly started crying and screaming. I ask him why he's screaming, and he replies with, I was saving that for later. How and why would you save a fart? I guess I lost faith in humanity when someone in my school wrote his own name with shit on the bathroom wall and was surprised and irrationally angry when they caught him. My 6-year-old, I figured out the tablet password and bypassed all the parental controls to download all my shows and reset the password so only I can use it. Also my 6-year-old, help. I put both legs in the same pant hole and I'm stuck. My little sister's just learned how to use the weighing machine. Me. My little sister. Hey. Me. My sister. Hey. Me. Yes what? Sister, I'm 27.8. Me. Very nice. My sister, what about you? How much do you cost? My parents got Who Wants to Be a Millionaire for the PC when I was a kid. The first time I played, though the printer dispensed the money and was freaking the duck out when I won. Then cried when my dad told me it was just a game. Let her alone for 10 minutes and she's helped herself to her 18-pack of Petits Phyllis. Me, 25 drinking oat milk. Child that ate 18 Petit Phyllis to make her bones grow stronger. When I was 4 or 5 my older sister and I were fighting, and I somehow barricaded myself in a hall closet. She tried to coax me out but I refused. She finally shouted, if you don't come out I'm going to suck out all the air from in there. It got quiet for a moment or two, so you can probably understand the horror I felt when I saw the tip of a straw slip through the crack between the door and the floor and heard a sucking sound from the other side. I thought I was going to die that day. 3. Mommy, I don't want dinner. Me, I'm not making dinner. I'm making you a big snack. 3. Yay. Snacks. Fun fact. As a kid, I made a custom shirt by taping a piece of paper to a normal shirt. I didn't know what to put, so I just wrote my shirt. I didn't know there was an R in shirt, so I just wrote my shit. What's the dumbest beliefs you had as a child? When I was 4 to 5 I swore that bad seeds grew birds, thus the name. When my parents asked me to prove it to them, I planted a pile of bird seeds. The next day there were loads of birds where I planted the seeds, showing I was right. My 2 older children were trying to lay out all of their Pokemon cards, but the youngest kept intervening, so they duct taped him to a chair. My child is throwing a fit. Reason: didn't get to see her poop before and ma flushed it down the toilet. Grandma is apologizing profusely. Leah's refusing to be assuaged. She just wants her poop back. It's been 20 minutes. Did you take your birth control? You're welcome. When I was little I learned what schizophrenia was from TV, and for a while I was really afraid because I thought I had it, since I always heard my own voice in my head. So finally I told a doctor and he informed me that what I was experiencing was called thinking. Today my son drew in red marker all over his face, then got scared that we'd be mad, so he tried to hide it by wrapping toilet paper around his head like a mummy. Then he promptly ran into a wall and nearly knocked himself unconscious. A comedy of errors every day with this kid. I had to walk behind my teenager during his Zoom class in order to go to the bathroom, and now his peers know that he has parents that he lives with. He's obviously very upset. Please send him your thoughts and prayers during this difficult time. My 4-year-old brother explaining to my mom that if we take the batteries out the clocks then time will freeze and we won't have to go to school. One time when I was like 11 my dad took me to an Italian restaurant and the waiter asked what my name was and I said Sam, but you can call me Captain Ravioli, and my dad just looked at me and said what the duck was that? Don't do that, and I've been chasing that high ever since. Opens bottle of bleach. Nephew, how did you open it? I tried but it didn't open. Me, oh it's cause it has a child safety lock. Children can't open it. Nephew looks at bottle in amazement. Nephew, how did it know I was a child? My 3-year-old calls Flonase mom is special knows medicine, and now my neighbor thinks I do cocaine. When my son was 4 he saw a commercial that said brushing alone is not enough to prevent cavities and tooth decay, so he made us start brushing our teeth with him. It's been 3 years. Nobody tell him. She tried to steal the baby goat by running to the car with it exactly 5 seconds after this photo. I know there are no dumb questions, but what is the dumbest question someone has ever asked you? My son saw pictures of my 5th birthday party and asked why I didn't invite him. I tried to be nice and gave this little kid $20 for orange juice and his orange juice stand, and he called me stupid cause it was only $1. Duck my life. So recently my little brother has been watching One Piece, and I told him it's a Japanese cartoon and it's been 2 weeks since, and now he thinks he can speak Japanese because he can understand the characters. It's in English. Emily, Gwen. Stop it. Stop, stop, stop. Me, Emily, why are you yelling at your sister? Emily, she won't stop talking, and I don't want to hear her. Gwen, I just wanna tell story. Emily, no. Me, Emily, let Gwen tell a story. Emily, fine. Gwen, once upon a time there was a princess and her name was Emily. Emily, Gwen, Princess Emily had a beautiful smile. Emily, ah, that's so sweet. Gwen, then she got hit by a car. Emily, Gwen. Parents on bus 23. A child gave my son his tablet in exchange for an Oreo cookie today on the bus. Please contact me for your tablet back. Yesterday morning after his soccer game, my 6-year-old asked me how come the other team gets to change the color of their jerseys every week, while we always had to wear purple. When I explained that, in fact, we were playing against different teams each week, his mind was blown. Why is your kid crying today? Mine didn't get picked in a game she was playing alone. When I was little, I thought Shrek was just kissing while you were naked, and one time, when I got out of the shower I kissed my cat on the head, and then I remembered I was naked and ran downstairs crying saying that I had Shreks with the cat. You should have seen my mom's face. Me, yes, you were in my belly. 3-year-old. Why? Tears in her eyes. Why did you eat me? When I was 8, I had an older YouTube channel with like 3 subscribers. Once I hit 5 subscribers I was gonna do a fan meetup, and I put my actual address in the description of the video. My dad's name is Aaron, so when I was little and he said he was going to run errands, I heard errands and figured that adults just called the chores they had to do by their own name, and to this day I still secretly think of my chores as Ellie's. A child ripped up their allowance because he wasn't happy with the amount. His mom walked out of her room and saw this. What would you do if this was your child's behavior? Keep it and give him a piece of it anytime he asks for money or mayo. Before I had kids, I thought I had a great immune system, but it turns out I was just really good at staying away from the type of people who sneeze directly into your eyeballs while telling you a story. Shout out to my 6-year-old who, during one of her Zoom classes, brought the laptop into the bathroom while I was taking a shower, causing me to scream. Turn off the camera several times while she screamed, "I can't hear you because you're taking a shower." Children are the best fundraisers because they don't understand economics. Principal, the student who raises $500 for the school will get this free hat. 12-year-old me, that is such a great deal. This kid asked me for some Skittles, but I had just finished them, so he stared at me like this the entire flight. Woman in my train carriage smoothly telling the conductor that her son is traveling free because he's only 4, while the kid repeatedly yells, "But I'm not 4." My niece done told her school we put weed in her food at home, that's why she be sleepy. Oil it's parsley. My sister going to jail. Look, we gotta stop acting like it's a bad thing to call our kids assholes. Like my daughter just dead-ass death glared me while pouring her juice on the floor after I said not to. Come on. That makes her an asshole. Don't shame me. 6-year-old, do dragons fart fire? Me, I don't know. 6, I thought you went to college. Fun fact, my parents got married on April Fool's Day, so when I was 7 I tried to be funny and I made them an anniversary card that said your marriage is a joke, and my mom cried. My 6-year-old watching me pour Drano down his bathroom sink. 6-year-old, what's that? Me, it dissolves whatever gunk is clogging up your drain. 6-year-old, cool. Even the screwdriver down there? Me, the wah. Reaction from my kids after explaining how Shrek works. You've done this 3 times? What the duck? Daniel Tiger, this is 10 times worse than my kids seeing violence on TV. We are setting up our inside beach. The first time I heard an adult say the F word was when I was in 4th grade and we were doing some project that involved us baking cookies together as a class. My teacher, Ms. Lindsay, who was real sweet, was demonstrating for everybody, and she asked if anyone knew how to crack an egg, and I really didn't know how to crack an egg, but I'm a go-getter, so I raised my hand and she called on me. I instantly knew I was in trouble at that point, but I'd seen my dad crack eggs hundreds of times, so I figured, yeah, no, it can't be that hard. So I grab the egg, but I have no sense of how softly you're supposed to tap an egg to crack it. So I just slam it against the desk and splatter or egg 10 feet in every direction, and my teacher said, "What the duck, done? Duck this school." Me. Spends time picking out stuffed animals I think my daughter will love and get attached to. My daughter sleeps with and carries around a lemon. These best friends got the same haircut to trick their teacher, so she wouldn't be able to tell them apart. Toddler, "Daddy, I want toast." Me, "Okay, buddy, here's some toast." Toddler, "I don't like butter on my toast." Me, flips toast over to the dry side and hands it back. "There ya go." Toddler, "Thanks daddy." Toddlers are dumb. Take advantage of it while you can. Today, I saw a kid at the supermarket, which suddenly started staring at me, realizing I only have one hand, and ran away shouting, "Mom, the zombies are coming." My toddler just spent 5 minutes explaining that he can't use his imagination because he traded it to a kid at daycare for some fruit snacks. Okay, bro. I walk out of Target to the scene of a child laying motionless on the ground. I asked what was wrong and the dad said, "He's upset his gloves match his jacket." Apparently my kid got in trouble today for packing our toaster in his backpack and pulling it out at lunch to make Pop-Tarts for his class. I can't stop laughing. My son named a piece of birthday cake Khaki, then got too attached to it to eat it. We saved it for him, and he decided to eat it the next day because he didn't want it to get old. He cried the whole time saying, "I'm sorry Khaki," between bites. As a 6-year-old, I saw a large woman and her large daughter in a store once. I looked at my larger mother and tearfully asked, "Does that mean I'm going to be fat like you?" Honestly, when I think back, I thought I was a lot kinder than that while asking, but kids really have no filter. My husband as a young boy used to draw his family as stick figures and his mom as a circle. His dad had to tell him to stop. If your son traded a Nintendo Switch for a fidget spinner today, please message me. Baby elephant tries to hide behind the light pole after spotted eating sugar cane. My cousin's year 7 class were talking about what they're grateful for and everyone was talking about their mums. One kid in the class had lost his mum a few months ago and my cousin saw him crying, so he reassured him by saying, "Don't worry, everyone's mum is going to die." So comforting. How to lose at hide and seek. Me. Eyes closed. 1, 2, 3, 4-year-old. Whispers, "Daddy, can I hide in your shirt?" I'll play this with my 5-year-old niece sometimes, and I pretend I don't immediately know where she is, because I'm not an asshole, but if I do that for more than 10 seconds she'll scream, "I'm here," and then get surprised whenever I find her after she screams that. Remembering when I was 7 and found out that showers instead of baths saved water, so then filled the bath up with the shower head to save my parents money. Who was at Michael's and this girl was staring longingly at the stuffed animals and says, "I wish I was still a kid," and her dad next to her goes, "You're 10. What is the dumbest thing you believed as a child? Either Michael Jackson has to stop whatever he is doing and sing when I play his CD. As a result, I never played it at night to give him some family time. Say you want a Lego tower building contest if you can't handle losing. Shaking my head. When my brother was like 9, he said get the fag instead of get the flag on Roblox, so they banned him, and he cried so hard he threw up on the carpet. The eldest child I nanny, she's 5, has a game where she sits us all in a circle and gives us each a coin with a sticker on one anyways. If we flip our coin and it lands sticker side up, we have to touch the dead bee she keeps under her bed in a Tupperware. Parents of Reddit, what's your best example of reversed psychology on your kids that actually worked? Took my 3-year-old son to one of those doctor's visits where he was going to get a shot. He was worried about the shot on the whole drive over, almost to the point of tears. We get to the doctor's office and a nurse subtly lets me know that my son is not just scheduled for one shot, but 5 of them in the same visit. I turn to my son with an exaggerated smile and tell him, good news. They figured out how to take that one big shot you were going to get and instead break it up into these 5 little tiny shots, so it won't hurt nearly as much. You could see the relief wash over his face. He stopped squirming and relaxed completely. He took the first shot and even smiled and said it's true. The small ones don't hurt. We actually made it through the 3rd shot before the effect wore off and reality kicked in. Still, I counted it as a victory. When I was a boy, my dad gave me money to go downtown and pay the electric bill, but instead I bought raffle tickets for a chance to win a new truck. I told my dad when I got home and he beat my ass, but the next morning in the driveway sat a brand new truck. We all held each other and cried, especially me because it was the truck from the electric company there to turn off the lights. Dad beat my ass again. So in kindergarten we had an in-class talent show and I chose to break dance. The next day I brought cardboard, so I won't hurt myself when spinning on my head. It wasn't until I stood up in front of the whole class for my turn that I realized I didn't know how to break dance. The 4 Horsemen of Nutcrackers. I remember I once heard the phrase beat your meat when I was 12 and heard it felt good, so when I was alone I punched my balls as hard as I could, then cried for an hour and threw up on the floor. So, good news, went poop on the potty today at school. Bad news, instead of telling the teachers he had to go, he just stripped naked in the middle of class and then ran to the bathroom. Oh my god. The teacher was like, so you're going to need to work with him on that at home. My daughter asked why she can't just quit school, and I told her it's against the law and they'll put me in jail, and my sweet child looked me in the eye and said, I'll visit you. Trusted my kid to pack for the trip herself and she brought 0 underwear and 2 kaleidoscopes. A child, what's that? Me holding an Oreo milkshake. It's spicy, you won't like it. Ian, thank you so much for being a part of my first class. I love your optimism. My sister just had a baby. She brought her home today and my other niece was so pissed she packed up all of her shit and tried to leave. Oh, you spent $8,000 to take your kids to Disney? My son watched the garbage truck empty our trash 20 minutes ago and he's still talking about it. My son told me he learned that octopuses can climb through small cracks, so he's scared to swim in the ocean because an octopus might climb inside his butt, and now I'm scared to swim in the ocean too. Apparently my 9-year-old nephew wanted permission to make a Facebook account and my sister was like, no, you're 9, and then he figured out how to make one behind her back and got caught immediately when he sent her a friend request. In 1st grade I wanted to grow up to be a bird, and one day I remember my neck and arms being covered in little red bumps, and I thought the transformation was beginning, and I ran to my teacher crying saying I wasn't ready to become a bird yet, and it turned out I was just allergic to yogurt and I wasn't turning into a bird at all. Uncle Sam, I'm trying to sneak myself into Japan, but I'm dummy thick and the clap of my ass cheeks is alerting the nations. Not an appropriate description. You should know that this is not appropriate for a school assignment. See me tomorrow. Eating plastic so turtles don't have to. I thought women had their periods forever. When my first period stopped I assumed the neighbor's dog impregnated me when I pet him. For a month I believed myself to be carrying a half human half dog baby. This story is brought to you by Ontario Catholic School. Shrek said in the 90s. He wants to get on the bus on the TV. I told him he had to stop biting the cat. I always told people I met Michael Jackson, but now that I found the picture, man, what the duck? Who the duck was this? Parents on Reddit, what was your I raised an idiot moment? I used to tell my kids not to take off their shoes and socks in the car, especially on short trips. Just leave them on so that we don't have to spend 5 minutes finding and putting them back on before we run into the store. Imagine a single dad with 2 young kids running around the car trying to reassure my children in the grocery store parking lot in the middle of an Arizona summer. Yuck. One day we went to the store and my daughter was missing her shoe. It was nowhere to be found. Daddy, I didn't want you to be mad that my shoe was off, so I threw it out the window. Made sense to a 5-year-old, I guess. Thank you. You have answered my question. When I see a single shoe on the side of the road. I just remembered that when I got my first dog I was 7 and he was 1. 7 in dog years, and I cried when he turned 2 because I didn't think a 14-year-old dog would wanna hang out with me. My little brother is 13 today. I miss them days I used to say, I bet you can't get me water from the kitchen in 5 seconds, and he would pace it, lol dumb guy. Neighbor boy knocked on my door. Often he needs his soccer ball inflated and asks me to use my air compressor. He's holding a giant ass jar of minced garlic. And I'm like, so what's going on? We have Italian, or what? Grandma can't open the jar, and I'm not strong enough. Can you? So I open the jar. He runs back and spills the entire jar on the sidewalk. Name, Molly. If I found a pot of gold, I would shit. The other day my sister said that she hates Mexicans. She's half Mexican. What is that one thing you did as a child that still gets brought up to this day? When I was a wee lad, my family and I were at a restaurant. We were waiting an unusually long amount of time for a server. I stood on my chair, slammed my fist into the table, and exclaimed, "They're not helping us cause we are black. We are not." 4-year-old daughter is crying her eyes out. Me. What's wrong Tutu? 4-year-old, moving her hands on the sofa. If my fingers were markers they would ruin the sofa. Me. But your fingers are not markers? 4-year-old, peak distress. I said if. When I was 10, I told my mostly white class that I was Japanese and a little white girl raised her hand and said, "You can't say Japanese. You have to say Asian." And everyone agreed. My 7-year-old, staring at my face. Me. What is it, sweetie? My 7-year-old, is my nose weird? 2. Kids are delightful. Hate playing make-believe with little kids. You shoot them with a laser, and they're like, actually I went back in time, so it doesn't count. The duck are you talking about? You just casually rip open a hole in the space-time continuum? That's irresponsible as shit, pal. In 2019, I took my 2-year-old to a restaurant. She asked why people kept going to the doors near us. I explained that's the potty. She proceeded to loudly ask every patron who walked by, "Are you pooping?" I could not stop her, and on their way back she'd shout, "Did you poop?" A tip to new parents. 3-year-olds will lock you out of the house in the snow without remorse and will think it's the funniest thing that's ever happened in the history of the world. I remember the day my 16-year-old swapped a vodka bottle in the freezer with water, but vodka doesn't freeze, so I found it out a few days later when I saw that the bottle exploded inside the freezer. While my sis brags at Thanksgiving about getting her PhD in quantitative microbiology, I'm gonna be thinking about this time we took a bath together. I was 2, she was 5. I pooped in the tub and she played with it because she thought it was brown Play-Doh. Not so smart then, we yeah lol. When I was 5ish, maybe 6, I filled my mouth with water, put my lips against an electrical socket and spat the water inside. Pain is a great teacher. How are you still alive? Was on the bus the other day and 2 kids about 10 were in front of me. One of them said that his parents won't let him get a dog, so he used to stare at the sun to try make himself blind so he could get a guide dog. No doubt he was waffling, but you have to admire his imagination. My kids realized that I was missing Glastonbury this year, so they put on a music festival for us in the garden. It was, and I cannot stress this enough, ducking awful. Once when I was 9, my teacher told me to write the most beautiful love story I could imagine. And I wrote a story about a shark and a horse who fell in love, and the horse jumped into the sea to be with the shark, but it drowned and died, and the shark was so sad that it also died. The teacher called my parents. Just had to explain to my toddler that the chicken animal is the same thing as the chicken food, and I thought she was going to be concerned. Instead she's chanting tweet tweet, eat the bird, while shoveling nuggets in her mouth. My son bet me that he could make a piece of paper fly farther than I could, so he spent 10 minutes making the fanciest paper airplane I've ever seen. The look on his face when I crumpled mine into a ball and launched it across the house was priceless. Sucks to be a loser MAO. When my son Seth was little, he would beg his brother to put him in this particular pillowcase and swing him around. I know it's insane, and the only reason I'm telling you now is because they are grown up and I can't lose custody of them. Kid in my son's class explained to me that she was sure he has 2 moms because he has the pretty mom and the other mom. She described each to me in great detail. Reader, both Army. So my cousin who is 5 got in trouble for not listening, and whatever his parents asked him, he just said no to any question. So he was put in timeout, and like 20 minutes later he was told he could go sit back in the couch, and just out of spite he said no, and stayed in timeout for like another hour. Kids are mean as duck. This little girl asked me what year I was born. I said 1985 and she said, "Were you a slave?" There's a kid on my nephew's soccer team that thinks he's a dinosaur, so he's just out there screeching and biting other kids on the field. I love my nephew, but I'm only here to watch Veloci run. My 8-year-old has started talking back and then saying, out loud, #roasted and dabbing. Not one of the parenting books prepared me for this. My 4-year-old brother told me he was scared to grow up and cried for like 10 minutes straight. Finally I asked why he was so scared, and he said he was scared of drinking coffee. Once when I was like 9 I went to a Mexican restaurant and there was a hole in my tortilla. For some reason the most logical thing for me to do was just cry. Now my entire family bullies me relentlessly every time they see a tortilla. Mom, I just wanted to tell you that Mother's Day wouldn't be possible without me. I'll be waiting for my present in the living room. Love, Joshua. When I was younger, instead of saying I'm hungry I would say I need to be neutered because I thought it meant I needed nutrients. Sorry. When I was 12 I tried to cheat at poker by pulling some cards out of a nearby deck when nobody was looking. I grabbed 3 kings and put them in my hand, discreetly hiding the cards I was replacing. So then there I was, holding out my 5 cards. 3 with red backs, 2 with blue backs. I wouldn't let David electrocute himself, so I'm the asshole. LeBron James Jr. won't wear his dad's number. He doesn't want people to know who he is. Coming in number 4, LeBron James Jr. Ayo bruh, who that guy is? I was in Walmart in the soap aisle where a toddler said hi to me and then proceeded to start poking my ass and going hinny hinny. And when her father came over she went dad hinny, and he mortifyingly went stop touching that woman's hinny and apologized. My toddler just saw newborn pics of himself with his clamped umbilical cord and is now convinced he had a second penis that we chopped off. When I was 12, I did something to make a teacher mad, so he assigned me a 500-word theme. I didn't know what a theme was, so I wrote the word theme 500 times. I counted each word to be sure it met the requirements. Draws picture. Spills juice on picture. Crumbles picture. Drops picture on floor. Walks on top of picture. Kicks picture across room. Finds picture in garbage. Why would you throw this away, Mom? My son keeps grabbing fists of air and screaming mine. My daughter is crying saying TJ is stealing my air. They are in my bedroom on a Saturday morning. I was in a class Zoom call when there was a faint thud in the background. My teacher appeared off screen for a second, calmly remarked, "Well, my daughter just ran straight into a wall," and continued to tell us about the structure of proteins. There's no limit to a child's imagination. My 2-year-old is yelling at me for taking too big of a bite from her pretend sandwich and she can't make another one because we're all out of pretend bread. My son is 2.5 years old and this is his favorite book. Today I noticed something wrong with the soap. My daughter said, "Daddy, I like your car because it's made of human skin because we have tan fake leather seats lol." Thinking about how as a kid I was afraid to sleep alone in my room because I thought a ghost lived in my closet, so every night I'd wake up and move into my parents' room to sleep on the itchy wool rug on the floor. It was a bit under their bed and I wanted to lie on it perfectly, so I'd also be a bit under the bed. But I also loved to eat ice cubes, so while I was up in the dead of the night anyway I'd go grab an ice cube from the freezer, and then I'd sneak into their room and lie down and start crunching on my ice cube, and without fail my dad would wake up and be like, "Are you really eating ice in here at 3 AM again?" Then I'd swallow the whole ice cube really fast. Anyway, anytime I think I'm ready for kids I think about losing sleep every night because there's an 80-pound sentient creature halfway under my bed just eating ice. In 6th grade during family life I informed my teacher my parents never had Shreks as it's against our religion. She tried to explain the celibacy until marriage concept for me and all I kept saying was no, they're good people, they don't do that. My mother is a university instructor, and when I was a kid at night she would tell me go to bed because she had to do some grading. I always assumed that she meant grating as in grating cheese, so I would go to bed excited for all the cheese I would be getting in the morning. I pictured her in the kitchen with just mountains of cheese around her. I never got the grated cheese in the morning, but I also never questioned the fact that it wasn't there. Father's Day message. Kids, please, don't rush things. We all love you, so always remember that even when you're dead. Hey, if you could spare a prayer for my 2-year-old right now. His granola bar wrapper was pulled down slightly too low, and it's unclear if a recovery from this is possible. When I was a young child, approximately 6 to 7, I had invited my friend to a sleepover at my house before I would move away in a few weeks. We had an awesome time, however, that would soon change. I had decided to show her a tour of the woods in my backyard. We walked for a while until I realized we are lost. I tried to find the way out, and she started building a house out of leaves. We made it home, and according to my mom, she could literally see us. During kindergarten I once started crying because I could see other people's faces, but not mine, and thought everybody could see its own face without a mirror except for me. Madison's eaten 3/4 of a chicken and cheese quesadilla. The last 1/4 she realizes it has chicken and cheese and isn't a pancake. She flies into a fit of crying and screaming that I lied and broke her little baby heart. I literally never ducking, said it was a pancake but go off. My 8-year-old in the car today. Do you want me to throw the confetti in my pocket? Me, no, not in the car. Why do you have confetti in your pocket? 8-year-old, it's my emergency confetti. I carry it everywhere in case there is good news. When I was like 5, I thought Mount Rushmore just naturally looked like the presidents, the way sometimes a potato chip accidentally looks like Jesus. All my childhood pictures are ruined because my stupid ass thought it was funny to be the Undertaker, so 70% of my old photos are like this. We cracked the code to potty training our daughter. Spider-Man underwear. It took her picking out her own Spider-Man underwear to completely potty train herself. She won't have an accident because she can't go potty on Spider-Man. I can't believe that's all it took, lol. My brother had me convinced for a while that each person had to have a unique favorite color, and since his was blue, I had to change mine. On my first day of kindergarten, we had to introduce ourselves and say our favorite color. I was super stressed out because the kids in front of me picked the good colors and I kinda panicked and told everyone my favorite color was gray. 3-year-old wants an RC car for birthday. I said Christmas. Demands birthday because Christmas is too far, her birthday was a month ago. My 4-year-old took a bite out of all of the muffins to determine his favorite. The verdict: banana nut. They were all banana nut. A story from my childhood. Once when I was a wee lad, I asked my mother if I could peel the potatoes. She said yes, but be careful. I thought, why do I have to be careful? It's a potato peeler, that's all it can peel. To prove myself right, I went outside, pressed the peeler to my thumb quite hard and shoved forward. It was at that moment I realized tool and utensils names can be misleading. I remember when my dad told me that cheese with holes in was called hiccup cheese because the cows had hiccups when they made it. I carried that until I was 18. Got laughed out the pub. Told the story a couple years later. I was laughed at again for thinking cows made cheese. Life is super tough when you can't pick up the book you want because you're sitting on it. We've been trying to teach 3 what to do in case of an emergency. Yesterday we tested her. What would you do if you found me on the floor and you couldn't wake me up? I could see her little brain working. She finally said, I would go into the kitchen and eat anything I want. Today my 7-year-old came into the room crying. I asked him what happened, and he said that his 5-year-old brother put 80 cows in his house in Minecraft while he was offline, and that it was entirely too many cows, and honest to Christ I have no idea how to parent any of this. I bought my son a book about bats, and halfway through it he shouted out, "What? Bats are real." All this time he thought they were made up for Halloween like ghosts and witches. I think I was 7. I was misbehaving at dinner, so my parents sent me to my room. I was dramatic as duck and cried out my window to the whole neighborhood. Then the window screen broke and I fell 2 stories. I got up and rang the doorbell to tell my parents I fell out the window. How old are you? 7, almost 8. Address not found. Your message wasn't delivered to dad@gmail.com because the address couldn't be found or is unable to receive mail. In 7th grade a boy asked me to be his girlfriend and I wasn't sure I heard him correctly, so I panicked and just said yes, and then he high-fived me and we never spoke again. Jamal, if you're out there, happy 11-year anniversary. My parents told me people only get 10,000 words per month. If you reach the limit, you can't physically speak until the new month begins. Anytime I was especially talkative, Dad would say, "Careful, you're over 9,000 by now." When I was 5-year-old I played with invisible monsters. These were my imaginary friends who would protect me as I walked around holding their hand. Neighbor kid wanted one, so he traded me his Tonka truck for one of my invisible monsters. Mom made me give the Tonka truck back. Neighbor kid was heartbroken because then he had to give the invisible monster back. When I was like 9 or 10 I didn't know what to do for April Fools, so just I ran up to my mom and told her a plane crashed in Times Square. As a mark of respect, please refrain from climbing this memorial. Let's play a game. You can have any superpower. What superpower will you choose? Featured comment. Alex's art. Me. Sees X in public. My friends behind me. If you want to be featured in the next video, use #dankness.